This one is how to set up for daemon calling. The first thing you want to do is clean up the place a little. Even if it's not that messy, just tidy up the clutter, a little cleaning up, a little vacuuming, wash up the floor a little, walls, whatever. Just a little bit. Or a lot, depending on how important the working is. But if it's just like a little mild working just to say hi, you can just clean up a little. And even it being cleaner is good. Because when you invite a guest over, you want to clean up, right? Depending on who the guest is, you clean up a little more. But also the energy changes and enhances them. As you clean up, the energy does purify and change for you. So you want to do the cleaning up. And then maybe sprinkle some stuff around, you can sprinkle some salt water around to purify. Burn some frankincense and purify. Do Florida water if you want. Florida water seems to be our new favorite thing. We just go buy that stuff by the gallon, I swear. Though I do homemade Florida water, that is my favorite. Who wouldn't like that? Which spirit would not show up for some homemade Florida water? Enochian.org if you want some of that. Anyway, so you want to sort of cleanse the place a little. Purify the place a little. Then you want to call the divine presence. Well, depending on how you work, some people might view the daemon they're calling as the divine presence, but generally we're talking people a little newer here. But even not, just call the divine presence. Some people call that God, some people call it Yahweh. Though you gotta be careful of those two. You don't want to call a divine presence that the daemon you're going to call next doesn't get along with. Somebody calls your least favorite coworker and then invites you over for the same dinner. You have to sit there for half an hour with them. That'll be really uncomfortable, right? If not worse. So I recommend a divine presence that you know very well. Don't be calling some brand new divine presence just cause. It doesn't work that way. You got to build relationships here. So call the divine presence. Call upon them. Get the energy all set of the place all ready. And then do the license to depart. Kick out any spirits that aren't supposed to be there. Boot them on out. Any energies that aren't supposed to be there, just boot them on out. Get the place clear. That's why some groups do all these banishing rituals. Personally, I don't like to banish because I noticed when I started working, even when I just start picking up a few things off the floor or whatever, cleaning up, tidying up, a little dusting, that's when the working actually started. The working didn't start when I officially go, okay, this working has started. No, it starts way before you even think it has started. I made that mistake once. I thought I'd go all out one day. This is like 10 years ago. I spent like an hour cleaning the place. I wanted it really nice. It was special working. It was an Enochian working. Spent an hour cleaning up. The energy kept building and building and getting really strong. And then I thought I'd do a banishing ritual. Whoops. All that nice energy, it was gone. Clean slate. And that was the energy of the Enochian building. So then when I called the Enochian entity for the ritual, it wasn't as strong as I was used to. Now, if banishing rituals are part of your path and you've been doing it for a while, stick with it, try it out. But maybe try out without as well. Don't check with your teacher first. So I don't have another teacher wanting to strangle me for telling the students to call daemons without a circle or triangle. But yeah, so if that's the way you work, go for it. But in general, if that's not the way you work, you don't have to throw in a banishing just cause. Just clear the area, do the license to depart, kick out the spirits that could be a bad thing, the energies that could be bad for the working. And then you light your candle. And then you call the daemon with a respectful calling. It could be a respectful calling that you've created, that you've written out. It could be one of the grimoires, reworded a little perhaps, with some respect would be good. I love the Verum calling. The Verum one's really awesome. But just check out, do one that you're comfortable with. Though you want it to be relevant, you don't want to do the Verum calling for some Goetic daemon, which is not Verum related whatsoever. You do want to stick with the like system sort of thing. And then also, it depends on your path and what you're used to for preparing the temple. Though again, you kind of want to stick within the system. You don't want to do Like, I wouldn't do my West African voodoo preparation for calling daemons. It's just, no, doesn't work that way. Or vice versa. No. You want to stick within the system or similar systems. So you just want to purify the area how you're used to. Generally, you should have a teacher and a system that you work with, and just hoping to enhance a little and call the daemons. But so you do the setup like you're used to. Because, you know, the first time you do any sort of setup, including these banishing rituals, which I don't like much, they don't work very well the first time. It takes a while. You've got to do something over and over for it to work really well, usually. Now, there is the beginner's luck, and I've had that. I've experienced that, where something works 10 or 100 times stronger than you would expect, or that anybody would expect for a newbie. Now, that happens sometimes, but that's not consistent. That's just sort of happens because the newbie's sort of innocent and sort of new to everything, so doesn't have all those things of, oh, this won't work, this might not work. Or if they do, it's not instilled in them. They're still new to it, and they don't yet know that things that aren't in the books don't happen. They don't know that really supernatural things don't happen, or that things can't be really strong yet. So the newbies can have some amazing, amazing results sometimes. But it's not consistent. So you want to work with something where you get consistent results. And that is prepare the area that you're used to in a ritual, in a way that you've done 100,000 times, whatever, that you've built the energy with it and you're very good at it. And you want to call the deity that you've gotten to know and worked with 100 or 1,000 times to prepare the area. Then you can start your work and your calling. You can start lighting your candles. Start putting out your rum. Yeah, I put out a lot of rum. Put out the pizza, the chocolate bar, whatever, the soda pop. Yeah, okay, so I'm getting some newfangled ideas for offerings, but whatever, just put out what you want to, what you had planned to. And stay in the room or the circle. Most people use a circle. I use a square. It's called a room. I just use a room for my calling. But I'm fortunate. I always make sure wherever I live that I have a room or 2 or 3 for the temple. Now, sometimes this is meant, what it means is sleep on the futon in the living room, so the temple in the bedroom. But, you know, priorities. We all have different priorities. If you have family, kids, whatever, that doesn't work out so well, right? But I try to make sure to have a whole room for them, and that room is the circle, square, is the temple, is what I call them into. But if you don't have that luxury, you can use the circle. You can use the area. However you decide to do the circle, you can use one of my awesome hand-painted circles at Enochian.org. You can make your own awesome hand-painted circles. You can draw it in chalk on the floor. Test it out first. Some chalk wipes or sponge mops up easier than others. So you can draw the circle out. You can draw the fancy circle with the Hebrew names. Or you can use other more relevant names to yourself. Don't just mix and match and make crap up, though. You want to be doing stuff that you've been working with for a while. Entities you've been working with for a while. Deities that you've been honoring for a while. You don't want to just go, oh, I use that name, that way. A little bit from the Necronomicon, a little bit from Enochian, a little bit Babylonian, a little bit of Voodoo. No, don't do that crap. This would be the other YouTube videos. Just don't do any of that crap, okay? You just want to stick with the system. Stick with what you're used to. You could use the Hebrew names if you want. That's not my style. Personally, I use other names. Won't be going into that. I've also made Enochian circles for Enochian working. Now, if you do use other names, you want to check with those other names, those other beings first. So, is this all right? Will this work out well? And if you can't talk to them and ask these other beings, that might not be a good idea for you. Or, hey, I give readings, but still, you want to get to know beings. You want to have a way to talk with them. Use a pendulum if you have to, tarot reading, something like that. But you want to get to know each and every one that you put the name on the circle or that surrounds you. So you can use a circle. Or you can use a room. Some salt in the 4 corners, some salt around you, some salt water. It's one thing I forgot for preparation. Cleansing bath. You want to give yourself a cleansing bath? make sure you're cleansed and purified. Salt water works for magicians on a budget. Just got a grocery store and they got the little food section. There's some free salt packages. That'll work. As budget magicians, right? Enough people said they don't have enough money to do all this stuff. Well, so what you do is you go to the grocery store, you get your salt package, take your bath. So another one to sprinkle on the temple, salt water to cleanse and purify the area. And then another one where you can, another 2 or 3, where you can draw out the circle around you. There you go. Okay, simple, whatever. It's not like it wouldn't work. It's not like it doesn't work. You don't have to be rich to be a magician. Some of the best magicians I've met are not rich. Just far, far from it. Also, if you think about where the best and the strongest magic is, it's not from first world countries, usually. There's some awesome in the first world countries. Very, not out in the open, not practiced by many people. But the most well-known strong magics is not from first world countries. So these people didn't have the fancy stuff, the fancy equipment. They made do. They figured out ways. I won't go into these ways because that is not a topic for this video and is not public information usually. But they figured out ways. They weren't fancy ways. And they weren't always the most expensive method. Not everybody has ruby dust to draw out the circle with and the divine names with. Okay, so I exaggerate. I haven't used ruby dust yet. I should. I have some ruby dust. I should try it out. Okay, so next up, you want to calling the daemon, light the candles, put out the room. Respectful calling. Like I said, I already listed these, just reiterating here. And then you talk with the daemon. Now, the first bit, like I said in the last video, you want to get to know them a little. Generally, you call up somebody, you know, you knock on your neighbor's door. Hi, can you help me move? Can you give me a ride across town? My car's not big enough. I need to pick up a 500-pound bale of candles. Can you help me out here? Generally, you know, the first intro, you don't be asking stuff like that. Generally, the first intro, get to know them, invite them over, you know, have them over for dinner. A while later, you ask for the ride with the 500 pounds of candles. So you want to get to know the entities a little before calling them. Sometimes it's an emergency. You want to call one, see how it works. Sometimes it does. How do you think chaos magicians do stuff? They don't sit there and wait for the proper moon phase. Some do. But not necessarily. They just call them up, do some work, get it done. Now, that's another point. Things that work, everything works well, usually. But it's how well it works. So you want consistent results that work really well. That's why the step-by-step thing here. Okay, so you've gotten to know the daemon, presumably, already. So you're calling them this time, and you got your sheet of paper out. And you tell them what you want some help with, and you guys agree on how they help you, what they'll help you with, what they'll do, and what sort of trade you'll give them. Nobody works for free. So many levels to that. Nobody works for free. You want to be careful with that. You don't want to be asking for stuff without giving a bit of payment. You really don't want to know what the payment is. Do you go to your lawyer and say, can you do this, this, and this for me? Thanks, without discussing payment? I wouldn't. Or your mechanic? Well, okay, if you've been with your mechanic a long time, you can just trust them and come up with a good payment. But some mechanic you barely know, just to go, fix this, this, and this, and don't discuss price. Nuh-uh. So with the daemons, you discuss the price. Write it down on your piece of paper, your parchment, whatever. Write down the agreement. Sign your name. Okay, pact writing. I think I need to do a video on pact writing because just that whole thing scares people. But like I said, you go to your lawyer, you write a pact with your lawyer, don't you? Like you write a pact with your bank every time you go. But the whole daemon pact thing, silly Christians, they went and made everybody paranoid of all the awesome spirits. That's all. So you want to write it down, you want to discuss it, you want to agree on it. My next video, I'll talk about pact writing and how to close things down after you're all done. www.Enochian.org. Please like and share this video. Lots and lots and lots and lots of comments, please, so other people can see it, so we have less disinformation on the internet.